And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, a part of the College Huddle Network, along with my partners, Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and Shelton Moss. I am Curtis Wilson, and this episode is brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts down at the Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy located 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg.
Buddy, it's going to be a fun night tonight. We got a few guests on, and we're going to lead off with our first one tonight. I know everyone has been excited about the pyramid. We've seen all the 1999 comments. That's awesome. But tonight we're going to have on the brainchild behind this. It's Taylor and Mel Chrisman with Press Star Packaging and Creative Carding, joining us to talk a little bit more about that. So let's go ahead and bring them on here. Taylor, Mel, how you doing tonight?
Hey, we're good. How are you guys?
Doing great. Thanks for jumping on. Just to kind of kick it off, I think everyone's excited about this. Tell us a little bit about how this got started and a little bit of the history of the Goalpost and how this venture came to be.
Yeah, so I was 12 years old, and we were at that game, my whole family. And, we watched the Goalpost go down and everyone going crazy. And my dad just kind of looked at my mom, and he was like, we got to get that Goalpost. We got to do something with it. I don't know what, but we got to do something with it. And by some crazy stroke of luck, my dad had a mutual friend with Frank Beamer, and they got to talking, and Frank was like, hey, I got a piece of it. Bring your truck. And so my dad went back. It was about a week later. And sure enough, there was the 18-foot crossbar. And they loaded it up, hauled it out, and they got the idea to cut it up into little 1-inch squares here and put it in a little acrylic pyramid. So you can hang it up on your wall and just look at it or whatever you want to do.
That's awesome. And so this is kind of the I guess the second run of that. I know you guys did the first run there a little bit after the game, after you came across the Goalpost there in '99. So, what was the idea? Like just 25th anniversary, or like it's time to run it back a little bit and see what we can do this go round.
So it is the 25th anniversary of that undefeated season, and we know that there's so much nostalgia kind of building right now. We're definitely kind of in a new era with Virginia Tech football, and I think everybody's really been talking about, it's come up a lot, the 25th anniversary of that undefeated season. So we thought, why not commemorate that and do another version of the pyramid? So that was kind of the idea behind redoing it or releasing like a whole new set.
Yeah, and it's really cool. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, I love the obviously the celebrating the 25th anniversary and the iconography in there is really cool. And obviously getting the piece of that Goalpost is huge. And when we look at the fact that I think just in recent years here, I think we've seen the '99 team celebrated a whole lot more. You get Michael Vick back on campus a lot more the last couple of years. He was there this past Thursday. So, I mean, it's really awesome to kind of see things come together, especially considering that, when we look back at that 20th anniversary, it wasn't quite as celebrated in the way I think a lot of fans and football alumni thought it should have been. So it's awesome that you guys are doing this and kind of bringing some attention to that. And I think, just that whole groundswell about that team has been pretty big this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, let's ask this. Amel, you said you were there in 1999 at that game, obviously, and your dad was like, let's get the Goalpost. But obviously, if you were there for that game, you were there for a lot more, Taylor. I know you're a big fan as well. So go back to 1999. You're 12 years old. What was like the game for you? Was that the game, or was there something else in the season where it was like, this team's special? And you're at the age of where like I'm going to remember this forever.
Yeah, it was actually our first year having season tickets. Was that year? My parents knew, I think the whole fan base knew it could be a pretty special something, but I don't think anyone knew exactly what was coming. And that was quite quite the year to pick to start season tickets. But you always have one of those things where something happens, and no matter what, you always remember exactly where you were when it happened. And it was the West Virginia game for us. It was an away game, and of all the craziness, we were like, we got to get out of the house. Can't watch the game for a minute. Let's take a break. And we were out, and my mom was listening on her yellow Walkman headphones right when Mike took it down the field and then Shane hit that field goal. That was one of those things just seared in my mind, and that did it for me, that West Virginia game.
I feel like everyone has a Miracle in Morgantown story. Like everybody that's a Tech fan remembers what they were doing, who they were with when that moment happened, just because of the stakes that were at play for what the Hokies could potentially be that year. And I feel like, that drive kind of encapsulated the fighting spirit of that team that year, because not all those games were pretty, right? Like there were some blowouts, but not all those games were pretty. It was a hard fought game in that particular instance. And, like I said, I think all of us Hokie fans remember where we were when we saw that drive take place. And, funny enough, I was on, the hill at, UVA in Charlottesville, because I was playing high school football at the time, and my head coach was a big UVA fan, so we were watching UVA Georgia Tech there on the hill, because he took all of us for like an end of season trip down there, and they put it up on the screen. They put the West Virginia Tech game up on the screen, and so all these UVA fans are like pulling for West Virginia here, and there's like a bunch of us on our team that are Hokie fans that just happen to be there with our coach, and we're talking trash there on the hill, and sweating bullets a little bit there until the end, but once it happened, there was a whole lot of fun trash talking there on the hill that day.
Oh yeah.
Tally, what you got?
Man, I'm just sitting back trying to figure out how I can get my hands on one of them pyramids without paying for it. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I know some people's been asking in the in the chat how they can get it. Curtis, you want to tell them how they can get their hands on it? Or
well,
Brian?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and tell you where y'all can get it. If you go to the Boundary Corner Podcast VT.com website under Goalpost Pyramid, it links you directly in to the creativecarting.com, where you can purchase it right there. It is $199.90, the perfect $19.99 there. So y'all definitely can go there to get it. But Mel and Taylor have been so nice to we're giving one away. If y'all have not noticed, there has been more than one time. If we take a look here, there are a lot of 1999s being pulled up. So Mel and Taylor, I don't know if y'all had a chance to listen last week, but what we are doing is starting last week, this week, and next week's episode, we are asking to subscribe to our YouTube channel and then put in a comment. Now, it can be a comment and talk about everything, or you can just put what some of these wonderful folks had, David, Tibb, LeVar, 1999. You have to be subscribed, and you have to comment either on the live podcast or, we understand some people got to go to bed at 9:00. You can do it on the YouTube recorded
we're pulling
version.
in the live comments and all the standard comments. So if you get them in there on the YouTube, on last week's video, this week's video, next week's video, that's your entry.
That is your entry. We're going to
pull it. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. I mean, one click, a couple of clicks, hang out with us, watch Curtis drink a little beer, watch Sheldon do some cussing, the same stuff that we do all week. All you got to do is put 1999 in the chat, subscribe, and hang out with us for a little bit, and you got your opportunity to win one of the pyramids, which is awesome, man. Just to see it, how it's made, what it looks like to have a piece of history in any man cave or woman she shed, whatever you want to call it. Just any sports fan would love to get their hands on it. And again, if you got it like that, just go to the website and buy it, which is probably what I have to do, because I don't think they're going to rig it for me to win. I've tried behind the scenes to get them to rig it for me to win, so I'm probably just going to have to go buy it.
Tally, you don't have like awesome. 3 or 4 burners on YouTube?
I've tried it. We're
going to get real suspicious if one of his burners wins. Jonathan
start
Tyler,
If I see Bama Hokie
Yeah.
69, I'm not
Yeah.
putting that in there.
My problem is I like to talk too much. So when I start
We're
talking
on
on
Team
the
Sally.
when I start talking on the burners is when people's like, oh yeah, we already know that voice. We know who that is. So
Sheldon, you got anything to ask before? I've got a couple more questions I want to ask Mel and Taylor here.
No, man. I just think it's great that we're kind of preserving this piece of history. I know we did it for some seats in Castle Coliseum, where they took some seats out and then kind of sold them off. So I think it's great. I can't wait until we beat Clemson in November, and then we can tear down the goalpost and throw in the duck pond. And then 20 years from now, we'll be auctioning out the pieces from the Clemson goalpost. So
I like it.
There
I like
you
it.
go. There
Nice.
you go. So let me ask this right now. Obviously, both y'all being fans and everything. Any interactions with the current coaching staff and just where they stand, and also who is your favorite Hokie? We all have different favorite Hokies on this, so I'd just love to hear a little bit more about how you feel about the new coach staff, plus who your random
The
plus
double
who your
tie-in. The
favorite
double
Hokie is
tie-in
also.
by Robbie there.
The double
Respect.
tie-in.
I'm a fan of the new coaching staff still. I think they're the ones that they're trying, and we're starting to see it. Things are coming together. They're rounding out. Like I was watching last week in Shelton, your breakdown of how Kyron is getting better and better, especially through the intermediate.
let's go.
That summed it up to me. The whole coaching staff summed it up to me. That we're starting to really take strides to get to where we all think that we should be at. So yeah, I'm a fan. I think we're going in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think it's an exciting time for everybody, and I think hiccups to start the year aside, I think we're starting to see this team round into what we thought they could be and hit that level of play that we expected. And it's exciting because we talked about it before we jumped on here. I've talked about it with Sheldon a few times, with Curtis and Tally a few times. Everything that we still wanted from a beginning of the year goal is still in play. And we just got to go out there and take care of business. So it's exciting. And to Sheldon's point, let's go out and beat Clemson and have another goalpost to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait.
Definitely. Hey, one question I got for you guys is where y'all at right now, Mel and Taylor? Like where y'all at?
Oh, so we're in Christiansburg, Virginia. So we're like 10 minutes away from Virginia. Oh, wait. Like, where are we at? Like, locate, like, geography-wise?
I'm just saying, like, what room are y'all in right now?
Oh,
I see the wind flag in the back, so I'm trying to see who's got this cool room that y'all are sitting in.
this is our dining room. We're not pretenders. We are diehard Tech fans.
Oh, they real. Oh, they real. Hey, you got a win flag sitting in the dining room. Hey, you are winning in life. That ain't just a flag.
Hey, let's throw it up there.
Typically, we have it in our gym, and it's a pretty sick gym, and it's got lots of Virginia Tech memorabilia in there. So, inspirational.
There we go.
There
Nice.
and there is.
Nice.
Jason likes what he sees.
Jason does like what he sees right there. So, before we just wrap this up, we want to thank y'all for not only taking a few minutes out of your evening. We understand everybody works, everybody's got things they've got to do. But we also want to say thank you for unleashing this back to the Virginia Tech fan base, giving us the opportunity to give it away. And I don't know what else to say. I'm with Shelton. It's like that Clemson game needs to be coming. Take a piece, tuck it into duck pong. Now, Mel and Taylor, I don't know how y'all are going to get it, but if that happens, Mel, y'all are going to have to go get the truck that night, because I don't think it's going to be sitting in Lane Stadium or sitting at the duck pond long.
I don't think so either. Yeah. You better be camped out.
I agree. and now, to Curtis's point, just thank you for being good stewards of this piece of memorabilia for over the years, and just bringing it back and giving it back to the Hokie fans that will take good care of it and cherish it.
Yeah, well, nobody deserves it more than the Hokie fan base. I mean, we've been up, we've been down, and there's a lot that have been there the whole time. So
yeah,
fan base deserves everything like this they can get.
Yeah. And honestly, we've had stories since we released this. Like, I was there. I really wanted to like touch that goalpost, and they were like too far away, or they just weren't kind of like in the fray. But we've had people say that was like my favorite memory ever. And to be able to like own a piece of it is pretty cool. They can just look at it and remember, that they were there. And I do think it's such a special moment that I think a lot of people remember.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, it is kind of the pinnacle of what Hokie football has achieved in most of our lifetime. So I mean, it's really it's absolutely a piece of history. And again, just thanks for sharing the love here.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for what you do.
Yeah.
Yep, we appreciate it, guys. And again, if you want to know where to get that, go to the Boundary Corner website, Goalpost Pyramid. If you just want to purchase one outright and then flaunt it to those who don't win, and like, listen, I just bucked up the money and just paid for it, $199.90. And again, if you want to see it, just so y'all can see how passionate it is, we are like, when we start this, we just get flooded with 99s out of everywhere. So it's pretty sweet. And again, we appreciate y'all partnering up with us on this. And hopefully in the very near future, we can all catch up with each other down in Blacksburg at Lane Stadium.
We'd love that.
Awesome. Well, y'all take care, and y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. Y'all
Thanks, guys.
See y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.
So cool. It's just so cool. I mean,
it is.
There's
it
no
really
more no other way to say it. It's just cool to know that is there. Tally, just tell your wife that's what you want for Christmas. She'll get it for you. And
you can put it right over your shoulder there next to the bottle of liquor.
Right there. Yeah, we see it. Right there.
I think that's a good place for it. Yeah, I got a couple of spots. I think I can put it up around the house. So, I mean, because that actually looks a little bit elegant. You know what I'm saying?
It does.
Because you got the nice glass to go on it. It doesn't look like a mini helmet. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the stuff that I have. But
hey, don't trash the mini helmets though.
I love mini helmets.
I got plenty, man.
I love mini.
He's just saying he could put that in the living room and
I can put that in the living room, and I can put that like right on the mantle or something.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, boys, we got a lot to break down tonight. We are going to be talking with a special guest from the WreckTalk, right? I get that right?
WreckTalk.
WreckTalk.
Yeah.
I can't spell tonight.
Curtis.
WreckTalk with Know the Enemy what?
What kind of shirt you got on, man?
Y'all know what I got on. So in case y'all were wondering and y'all paid attention, way back in May, we asked Coach Pry, well, Tally asked on behalf of everybody, Coach, we love the shirts. Can you send them to us? And y'all, they didn't skimp on it. They sent all of us the Hunger Drills shirts. I had to wear. It's now the perfect time of year for this shirt. It's nice, light. It's a perfect for a fall night. I had to bring it out tonight. I mean, it's just a sick shirt. So
Curtis, you're getting called out already, man.
Sorry, WreckTalk. Sorry, man. I completely spelled it wrong in the rundown. I'm very sorry. So you can lambaste me when you get in here. So
don't worry, Curtis messes up names all the time.
Oh yeah,
don't take it personal.
Personal. All righty. Well, we got that later on, but let's start with Tell the Truth Tuesday with a massive victory of the BC 42-21 on Thursday night. And I'm going to go through here real quick on some things we said. First of all, Shelton Moss said, we have to embrace Thursday night. Shelton, did this team, the coaching staff, and the fans embrace Thursday night?
Absolutely. One of the most historic rushing performances we've ever seen from a Hokie, with Bayshall Tootin setting the single game record, breaking Darren Evanson's record. APR with another 4-sack banger, put up 42 points. You give up. I mean, you give up 3 turnovers and you still win by 21. I mean, that's about all you can ask for. And we took the all-time lead in most wins on Thursday night with our 25th win since 1994, more than any other team in the country. So back in sole possession of Thursday night. So it is officially our night and nobody else's.
There we go. We embraced it. Jonathan Talley, you said we needed to limit Tommy Castellano's legs. Did we limit that man's legs?
Yeah, we turned Castellanos into a castaway. He was he was cast off. Fumbling the ball. I don't know if he's still hurt. I mean, I hope nobody's hurt, but, fumbling the ball, seeing ghosts, getting hit, chasing him around, APR on his head like a toupee. I mean, it was a good night, man.
Mayhul in his face on the sideline.
Oh my God,
It was a good night, man. It was just, I mean, you seen a lot of great performances, but again, back to what Curtis said, talking about my key to performance was limit his legs, and I think he may have had like 58 yards on 20 carries. So
yep,
I'll take that. You know, I'll take that.
20.
Yep.
As long as it was 18. So you do the math, it's even worse after that. Brian Siegler, you said get off the field on money downs, and I think we did that pretty good.
Yeah, especially in the first half. I think they only had 2 conversions in the first half. Really good job overall throughout the game there, getting off on money downs. And to that point, a lot of getting off the field on money downs is Tally's point there of limit what Castellanos does with his legs. He was not scrambling that well. We did a good job of containing him, keeping him in the pocket, getting him down when we needed to. And the results speak for themselves, I think.
100%. And mine was just finish. We talked about BC allowing sacks and APR 8 all night. 4 sacks, his 4th sack game of his career here at Virginia Tech 2 this season. And then in the offensive side of the ball, touchdowns, not field goals. Y'all, how many times we went in the red zone Thursday night?
How many?
You know how many times? 4.
How many?
Did we kick any field goals? Nope. 4 touchdowns. And as we talked about it, though, they were not a shabby red zone defense. They had only given up 5 touchdowns all season in the red zone. We damn near got to that number Thursday night. So we told the truth about what our keys were, and we talked about what went well. Sheldon already hit it up. Tuden breaking the rush game record. 18 carries for 266.
Insane.
That is sick.
I'm telling you, but this is what I'll say. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, or even I can't remember if we talked about it on here or we posted on Twitter or some happened. But we talked about getting him the ball more. I mean, since the beginning of the year, getting him the ball, letting him feel the game, like the offense has to go through him. And it looked like they decided that, okay, that's what we need to do. Let's get the ball in our playmakers' hands. And he showed up and showed out. And again, like I said, for whatever reason, some people were saying, well, it's BC. Well, I remember at the beginning of the season, people tabbed BC to be the ACC winners after they beat Florida State, and they took Missouri to the brink of a win, and people talk, oh, they're gonna kill us, and then once we beat them, it's like, oh, it's BC. No, that's a good team. They had the sack leader on their team, or he was tied for second when we played them, but again, we showed up and showed out. So, and we did it in orange. Go ahead. What else?
Did it in orange.
Hey, orange.
There you go. He looked quicker without the brace. Hey, Shelton, though, we got to give Tuden a lot of credit, but you've been saying all year about the offensive line, and you dug up the stat earlier. I think actually a couple days ago is when I asked you about it, and y'all, if what Shelton's about to tell you continues to happen, the sky is the limit for Basal Tuden this year.
So typically what I like to do to evaluate offensive line play is look at the percentage of yards before and after contact, just to see how far it is upfield that a running back can get before it gets touched by a defender. So, coming to the game, Tech was not very good at yards before contact per rush. I think they were 108th, if I'm not mistaken, in the country. And so, but that totally turned around against BC. So against the Eagles, 60% of Tech's rushing yards on designed attempts came before contact. That was by far the highest percentage of the season. It was like 25% above their next best performance. And on a per rush average is about 5.7. So, we saw on Tuden's 83-yard touchdown run in the second quarter, he was not touched at all. I mean, the only time he got touched was, when he was in the end zone and that the defender was trailing after him, trying to swipe the ball away. But I thought the O-line did a great job blocking, and I felt like it was the first time all year where Tuden was able to get to the second level on such a consistent basis. And once he's at the second level, man, like it's a wrap. Like he can make you miss. He can just run right around you. Like he's a tough guy to stop once he gets past that first level. So I thought it was by far the best performance of the season for the O-line. It wasn't like Tuden carrying their show. It was a complete team performance. Guys are making their blocks. The Moore brothers were awesome. Xavier Chaplin had another awesome performance. I highlighted him on Twitter. Just all around fantastic performance in terms of blocking.
If you can get Shelton, If you can get Sheldon to make a highlight tape for a offensive lineman, he doing something. That offensive lineman is doing some work. But I seen Curtis. I didn't mean to cut you off. Steven put a post up and said, both of those big runs were on Chaplin's side. Got to go back and watch that tape because get to know 79 Johnny Garrett on one of those big runs. He was the one who wrapped in the hole and cleared the trash. So Chaplin's doing an awesome job, but we also got some young linemen that have stepped up and started doing their jobs as well. So Garrett definitely made that big run happen.
Yep. Johnny Garrett got about 20 snaps. Brody Meadows got about 20 snaps. We're seeing it build for next year. And Sheldon, I think you might have tweeted this out, or Brian, maybe you did. Chaplin was the PFF O lineman again this week. Like the entire country, the highest graded guy all week. Chaplin is just coming to his own. And Sheldon, what you did with that tape, like watch him against Donovan. Donovan's an elite pass rusher in college, and that's who it was against. He held him at bay the whole game. Held him at bay the whole game. Brian, let me ask you real quick, because Sheldon mentioned it already. Who did the BC offensive line not hold at bay the whole game?
That would be Mr. APR.
I mean,
Antoine Powell-Ryland had himself a game. Went from started the week 5th in the country in sacks, finished the weekend even after everybody else played number 1 in the country in sacks, and just had a hell of a game across the board. Had that fumble recovery snatched from Castellanos there. Had some other key tackles, couple other tackles for loss. So he went out there and just wrecked shop for 4 quarters, and it was really impressive to watch. And when we talk about top performances in that game, there were a lot of them. From Kyron being pretty much perfect in the first half, throwing the football, what Tootin did on 2 long runs and being consistent between the tackles all night. And then you look on the other side, APR, second game with 4 sacks this year, and just had Tommy Castellanos in hell for 4 quarters.
Had that offensive line in hell for 4 quarters. And I'm sitting here, Brian, as you were watching that game, and if y'all ever hear Brian and Tally talk about when they watch the game, they don't watch the outside. They watch the middle of the field. They watch the line play. I don't know how y'all do that. Trained eyes, I guess. But, Brian, when you were watching APR, like as your offensive lineman brain was working, did at any point you say, I don't think they can stop him? Like, I don't think they're going to have an answer unless they start, like, basically giving all the support to that side.
Well, I mean, they were giving support to that side. I mean, several times that he got to the quarterback, he got chipped by a running back or he got chipped by a tight end. Like, they weren't ignoring him, and he was still getting there. And I think that's the thing that's most impressive. I think you got to give a little bit of credit to the secondary as well, because it does, you got to be able to hold up quick in that coverage for sacks to get home. But they were able to do that, and APR was just tearing them up all night. It was lovely.
Definitely. It's like a offensive lineman most of the time. When you look across the line from you, you expect the guy to look a certain way that's going to do certain things. APR is kind of a tweener with his size. When you look at him, you don't expect him to have, maybe elite quickness that he does when he's getting around people, but he's not like a super big guy. So when I say super big, I mean, tall, 6'5", 6'6", anywhere around that. So you don't feel like, he's going to bend as much as he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has like tremendous bend when he's coming around the corner, and he's really, really quick to be, kind of that stocky size. He's not one of those tall, lean people. You know what I'm saying? He's got some girth to him. So I think sometimes that even when you watch it on tape and then when you line up across from somebody, you look at them like, okay, I should be able to do this, or they shouldn't be able to bull rush me. But he's got some things. And again, I got to go back to what JC's been able to do. He's pulled some different tricks out of his hat that shows that he does have pass rush moves. It's not just a bull rusher. He's not just a speed rusher. Like, he sometimes has to, use a jab step or different things like that. And I don't think that it's no thank to it. When you sack somebody 4 times in one game, multiple times, I mean, you're doing some work. So he's getting some moves that I guess people kind of shortchanged him for when he was at Florida. But thank you, Florida. Y'all didn't deserve him.
There you go. Didn't deserve him at all.
I saw the stat. He's like at about 21 sacks since he became a Hokie, and I think as a combined team they have 38. Since that time frame. So
yeah, he's pacing big time. He's pacing big time. All right, so there's all the stuff that went well, and that was pretty much 55 minutes of the game. But I'm a realist here. What went bad was that 5 minutes in the third quarter.
Ooh,
and I mean, okay, first of all, them coming out of halftime, basically putting a drive together. That's not shocking. That's not shocking, right? Not to a lot of people, especially somebody like Bill O'Brien, who has coached a long time. He made some adjustments, right? And they moved down. It was the next few minutes with just some really out of character things from the team. And I know I have been at baseball, so I'm like following this thing on my phone. Like, man, this is over. I go down to my neighbor's house down the street here where Brian and Sheldon have both been. They got the fire pit going watching the game. And I sit down, pour nice Sagamore whiskey, and all that crap happens. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. Am I gonna have to like leave? Where were you? Where was y'all's mentality at? Sheldon, you were there. Where was your mentality when that happened? Because I mean, the place is buzzing, it's electric, and then 5 minutes like that happened.
I was pretty chill, honestly. Like, I know people kind of flipped out about that, but like it was two dumb turnovers. I mean, we gave them essentially, 40 total yards of field position to work with. Like, it's not like I don't think the defense fell apart. I just think you had a couple critical turnovers, and once they got past that, they went right back on the field, scored a touchdown. They got the big stop on fourth down, and then boom, that was it. So I think for me, I trusted the way they played in the first half. I think if you're dominating line of scrimmage and you're moving the ball downfield consistently, I think eventually the process will pay off, so to speak. So just a couple big mistakes there. It's kind of really all there was to it. But I was honestly never really worried that much.
Tally?
I was all right until Curtis got back in the chat. Like, Curtis ramped my anxiety up, and I had to put the phone on charge and stop looking at it.
If y'all don't know about Curtis, so I'm gonna share this real quick before I let you finish, Tally. But
go ahead.
All right. So our buddy Pete B likes to live tweet during games. Curtis is basically Pete B that doesn't live tweet during games. Curtis does. It's very high and low. It's very high and low. It's an emotional roller coaster. And depending on where you are at the time is going to depend on what type of Curtis you get.
Yeah, Curtis was on one in
Shout
that
out
group
PB.
Sheldon was kind of still Sheldon. He's saying most of the time, like whatever is what he does. He's just kind of, I told y'all we're better than them. We're gonna win. And I'm like, well, Curtis ain't saying we're gonna win. So I'm kind of leaning Curtis's way because I'm watching the game as well. But it was fun though, man. And like you said, we went through that stretch and it was just kind of like, let me see. Actually, I had to do something with my son. I had to get him, and I ended up taking him to go get something to eat. And we leave to go grab him something to eat, and I come back and it's like, what's happened? It's like a different team, and then we give them, 2 turnovers, and next thing you know, it's like, oh Lord, here we go again. But we overcame, so I was all right with that.
Yep. To me, I think it kind of started a little bit with the Colin Schlee call there on that drive opening the second half. I feel like that kind of fiddled with our mojo a little bit. Then we had another, I think, drop on that series that ultimately we ended up getting off the field punting, and then they drove down and did their thing on that first drive. And then you have a couple mistakes. The next thing you know, 4 scores becomes 1 score, and you're sweating a little bit. To Shelton's point, I never got worried, but I was definitely like, this is not going to be as pretty as it should be now, because these are mistakes that you can't make. But at the same time, like I'd seen what we had done in the first half. I thought that if we could just stop the bleeding, it was going to be fine, because we've shown that we could handle them at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I won't give all of the family secrets away, but I want to read some of the live messages from Curtis during the game. We had y'all, I'm about to leave. This isn't cool. Y'all, this is stupid.
That's all in the course of about 2 minutes right there, though.
I mean, it was only 5 minutes. Oh,
yeah, I know.
It was probably 12 minutes total time, 5 minutes run time.
Tally, I think it's somewhere in that chain. I literally told you, Tally, I have to do this here so I can be somewhat calm and somewhat here on Tuesday nights.
Oh, We're Cursed was in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, we're cursed is always coming up. That's always coming up anytime we do something. We're cursed.
I think Tally might have froze on us.
I think Tally did freeze on us. He's probably reading the really bad ones right now. But
you know what? That's a stylish pose. At first, I thought he was like building suspense.
Oh yeah, and he was going to look up. but
and then he didn't move for 30 seconds. I'm like, not so much.
Can I say this though about the coaching staff and this team and these players? So we've been down numerous times this year. Go back to Vandy and Rutgers. We've had bad things happen, like the ODU game. The one thing I think this coaching staff has instilled, and it even goes back to last year, is resiliency amongst the team. Because you don't see them. They're like Shelton. Something bad happens, they don't panic. They aren't losing their minds. They aren't going around doing dumb shit. So effectively, that happened, and then we just calmed down. And about 5 minutes later, we stopped them on 4th down. Touchdown. We stopped them again, 3 and out. Touchdown. So the reality is, I hate it. I have to get it out. If I don't get it out, I would lose my mind here on every Tuesday night. I don't think that would be much fun for watching. But when bad things happen, this team and this coaching staff does not panic. And we've now seen that in numerous examples in the last year plus. You got one more good one right there? You got one more good one, or did you put it away?
Huh? Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was just a we cursed, and then we cursed to laugh out loud after we scored. So no, we cursed and then we still cursed to laugh.
Hey,
we
scored. The last one.
The funniest one was Tally responding, "They cursed too then," and then and that was after I think that last turnover they had.
Yeah. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, just a couple more things as we close out the Tell the Truth segment. I think I was not prepared for no field goals. I expected them to stop us at least once.
I expected someone to kick.
Somebody to kick. No field goals. Can you make a bet on that on the betting sites? Like, I believe there will be no field goals kicked in this game.
Well, they tried.
Oh, I think they tried to run a trick play there.
Yeah,
because that guy was moving from the field.
Yeah,
like I think they were trying to run a trick play, and it just when he bobbled it, they were fucked. Yeah. So, can we just say this too as we move on? Because we do want to hit a little something. The version of this team since Rutgers, they just got to keep being it, and they've got to keep improving, because this team that keeps showing up statistically, mentally, physically, again, I think they can stand toe to toe with a lot of good teams in the country.
No, I agree. You're right on point with what you're saying with that. You know what I'm saying? Just what needs to happen moving forward is just, I think we're going to touch on it a little bit later too. Just continue feeding into your identity, Yep. Like, you're 7 games in, you know what you can do and you know what you can't do. Feed into that.
Yep. I think that's been the big thing for us, is that, what we've seen since the start of conference play has been a team with an identity on both sides of the football, a team that has been playing, one moment or here aside, I think a lot better as a unit. And I'm thinking not just the team itself, but also the way the coaching staff has been during the games. I think they've called a better game from a coordinator standpoint. I think Brent Pry has been better from a game management standpoint in that same time stretch as well. So we have an identity now. It's just about keeping it consistent and putting that best product out every week, because we know what the ceiling looks like now. We've seen it. We just got to be consistent with it going forward.
Sean, you got anything to add on top of that? Anything you got to say we got to keep doing better moving forward?
I think we've been running the ball pretty well, and we can talk about this a little bit more in depth later on. But I think I think Bowen has added some complexity to the run game, kind of building off some of that base stuff that they've been doing with like split zone, for instance. So, the rushing numbers continue to get better. I think as the offense progresses, the O-line gets better. There's more synchronization, I guess. So I really like the way the offense is going, kind of set up by the run game, and also drones too, getting more polished as a passer.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about it a couple weeks now, and I've talked about it with Sheldon some off air. Like what Bowen's doing with motion in the run game and the pass game is a lot more complex and kind of what I expected from this offense, kind of to start the year. I know you got to layer some of that in. You can't come out week one gangbusters, show your whole playbook. But what they've been doing with motion has been really clever. To getting guys into one-on-one situations in the passing game, and also to kind of get the linebackers' eyes where they shouldn't be in the run game.
All righty. So real quick, as we get a cap on that right now with Tell the Truth Tuesday, we do want to discuss this. There was a commitment earlier this week, and it's another legacy commitment. Brennan Johnson, big brother on the team, dad a legend, Coach Lauren Johnson's son, 6 foot, 190-pound linebacker out of Highland Springs, a 3-star 87 on 247 composite. I don't think anybody was shocked by this. I think the timing was when it's going to happen. But Brian, Tally, I don't know if y'all had a chance to see tape or film on Brennan. A lot of people say he's better than his brother. A lot of people say he's a dogged linebacker.
Yeah. He just, when I've watched him the last couple of years, he's moved around to a couple of different spots. I didn't really know what he projected to play in college just because of kind of the different things he's done in high school. But very, very solid player. I know last year or maybe 2 years ago, when they talked about him when Braylon was still in high school, they talked about, Brendan a little bit more, just the things that he was able to do on the team. So I know at that time, they were talking about him getting a lot more looks than I guess what he's really paid attention to, or that he's fed into, moving into his senior year. So wasn't really a surprise to see him commit, but like you said, kind of timing was okay. When is it gonna happen? Because you can't really lose, that type of recruit. Because you know what happens when we lose that type of recruit? They go somewhere else and we see their name in lights all the time, or they come back to Lane or we play them and they end up killing us for 2 or 3 years. So
there you go.
Good to see him. It's good to see him commit.
Sheldon, anything on Brennan Johnson?
Nope, honestly.
Nothing. Always ask.
Yeah.
I know you're not recruiting like you once were. All right,
Hey.
Tally, you said you wanted to bring something up real quick before we get over to know the enemy.
Yeah, just because we got got another Virginia recruit. So of course you're looking at recruiting's kind of been lax for us lately. We kind of had some people already in the boat, so not really been paying attention. But of course, we get a new recruit, so the first thing you want to do is, okay, where does the class stack up? Where do we stack up in Virginia? Things like that. And so right now, I'm looking, and nationally, we are 46 in recruiting. I think we're right at an 87 on our recruit, somewhere around that. And the thing that was more, I guess, I don't want to say alarming, but we don't have a top 10 recruit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know this. I didn't pay attention to this until now. I thought I went to sleep and we had a couple of top 10 recruits, and I woke up and we got none. I think our top recruit is number 13 in Virginia, and I'm talking about Virginia recruits. Everybody in the chat, if y'all don't know, not nation.
Composite, not 247 rank.
Right. So I think Brett Clatterbaum is our top recruit out of Virginia, and he is 13 now.
Yep.
So I wanted to ask you guys, what do y'all think about that? Is that a staff problem or is that a ranking problem?
Well, first of all, Brett Clatterbaugh just a couple months ago was the number 8 player in Virginia.
Right.
And Micah Matthews was the number 5 player in Virginia.
Right.
So for some reason, they both got their 4th star removed and they got bumped down. Christian Evans, I'm sorry, I got Tally, I got hot on this. Christian Evans went to the Under Armour camp in Maryland over the summer where all the big time East Coast prospects come, right? Y'all know about that camp. It's one of the big ones. He's the fucking defensive MVP, and he gets 0 bump. He's in the 20s still. How is that possible? How? How do you go here and outperform every other elite recruit at this camp, and you don't even get a bump?
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that was most like crazy to me was to see where Jeff Overton is. Like he's 32nd in Virginia. Wasn't he like the Gatorade Player of the Year last year? And to go look at his stats this year, I think they're 6-0, 7-0. He's still running over people, and he gets taken down again. I don't understand it. So I had to get it off my chest and ask some people. Anybody who's following recruiting in the chat, please let me know what's going on. Anybody who's in the Virginia area,
front of the church, Matei.
Anybody who's in Virginia who's paying attention to these games a little bit more than I do, what's going on, man? Are these running backs from Virginia that good that Overton is 32 in Virginia? I don't get it. I don't want to say they're against Tech because I don't know that, but I'm just saying something don't quite smell right. You know what I'm saying? That milk kind of spoiled to me. That's all I'm gonna say. Brian, what you feeling about this stuff, man?
I'm kind of right there with you. And I think it's weird seeing. I think the downgrades are weird. I think the ones that didn't get bumped up, like Overton and like Evans, is probably the bigger crime.
They were already committed. So
yeah, exactly. So, it's going to be interesting to see now. And I think, rankings matter. We talk about rankings. Rankings matter to a point, right? But I think this staff has shown a really good job of evaluating talent and evaluating talent for what they're trying to do. So as long as they're getting the guys they want, I care a little bit less. But obviously, from a perception standpoint, we're going to talk about rankings. Yeah. We're going to have to talk about it. So that's just kind of is what it is.
They're always going to be discussed because the numbers are out there. Sheldon, you got anything on this?
Yeah, one? I mean, I don't really – I don't pay too much attention to recruit rankings like I used to. I think, individuals, there's always going to be some politics involved with, what a guy's rated. I don't think – it's probably more helpful to look at it from a team perspective, over multiple years. And, I was talking this with a friend who was pretty good with numbers the other day. Like, recruiting rankings are more helpful if you're looking at like 3, 4, 5 year sample sizes in a single season, much less a single player. I just don't really make too much of it. So I think, like Curtis said, the staff is, and Brian too, the staff has done a pretty good job with evaluations. To me, if they think a kid is worthy, then he's good enough for me. So I wouldn't make too much deal about 3-star, 4-star, 5-star personally.
Well, I'm making it about the 4 stars. 247, y'all better get your shit together. Tired of you dropping people down. We trying to get up in the top 25, and we at 46.
Well, Callie, you do the math though. You start, and I was doing it today after you sent me that message. There's a lot of teams in front of us that have 20 plus recruits, and we're sitting at 17 at 46.
The average is only a little bit lower than what we want to be at.
The 87s, where it's like, I think if you did that, we're at like 31.
Yeah, I mean, we want to be at about 80. Our squad, we want to be at about 88.
Yep.
So if we're at 87.5, we're in that ballpark. I think the problem is that we were there. We were at like just below that 88.
We were like 87.7, and then they bumped them down, and
the bump down.
They bumped
and it hurts more because you get bumped down the two people that are probably weighting the average up the most. So
right.
It hurts a little bit more in that percentage. But I mean, I'm kind of at a point where, like I said earlier, if they're guys that this staff wants and they think they can play, just about every young guy, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but I mean, we're seeing it on the offensive side of the ball. Everybody they're bringing in has went out there and had some success on the field. So, and that's with a team now that is pretty veteran. So if they're stacking guys behind them that are able to kind of Wally Pip some of those guys, especially when injuries happen and things like that, I'm okay with it.
All right, Callie, I'm going to say one last thing before we do a little break read here and bring on WreckTalk. Woodson was ranked 18th. Woodson was ranked 18th. And there's some players that have been in front of him that he is considerably outperforming, including a couple that went to Penn State. So we'll move on from this. And as always, we are brought to you by Count Stanley Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy located at 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. Go see Jeremy and let him entertain you any day of the week. So now we move on to Know the Enemy. And tonight, got a buddy of ours from WreckTalk coming in, so we'll go ahead and pull him in here. How's it going tonight, man?
It's going pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Hey, I like the AKA there. Got to call Curtis out a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Dude, I'm really upset about that, and I will never, ever let it go.
Don't let it go. Ever. You should never let it go. So,
hey, you know, Curtis has butchered some pretty easy and straightforward names in the past there, so please don't take any direct offense, but definitely give him as much shit as possible.
Your running back's a nightmare for you, then. How long did it take you to learn to pronounce his name?
About 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. It was facial. Oh, it was all bad.
Hey, don't ask him to say Kelly Lawson though.
Oh God. Yeah, I need the pronunciation guide, but nobody.
Kelly.
Lua. I needed one of those night. But WreckTalk, give us a little background on yourself, how you started your podcast, and where folks can find you.
So I started mine right after the game after we fired Jeff Collins. That's why, if you notice in the chat, it probably didn't make sense to you when you said money down. That was a big thing Jeff Collins did. And I probably have 40 hours of content just absolutely hating him and talking about how dumb he is. In fact, I went to North Carolina and I got seats 3 rows back from where he stands. And I just yelled at him mercilessly all game. And that last drive we had was great. But I started right after Collins was fired. And only thing I've done right is just keep making videos. I don't know how watchable they are, but you know, you just keep going on and talking. I mean, it takes a certain kind of narcissist to talk for like 2 hours on a live show and think people are still listening to it. So that's what I've done.
Hey, you got to respect that, though. You got to respect that. And, you know, you got to respect the Jeff Collins hate, because I can definitely commiserate with what they're dealing with. And, you know, it's UNC's problem now. And it's kind of fun to see the other side of it when it's like, all right, well, that's your problem. I'm going to talk my shit now, though, because you're catching the end of it right now.
They're paying that moron $1.1 million a year to give up 70 to JMU. And I'm like, man, I'd screw up that game for 1/10 of that for you guys. Save you some money. I mean, we need to get into coaching. I think some of you might be, but from the sounds of it, but that's what I need to do.
Yeah, I've dabbled in the past, and I think I could have went out there and called a better game against JMU, but, you know.
Do the opposite of what you're doing on one. Great.
You keep sending the same play calls in, and they keep scoring touchdowns. Try something else. But
hell, you would think if he just picked one play call and stuck with it the whole game, he wouldn't give up 70.
Maybe
it's got to work at least like 10% of the time. You'd think.
Yeah. All righty. So let's go.
It's always fun getting a basketball score in a football game.
How you do that?
They're ready for basketball season, aren't they?
Yes, they are. All right, well, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets here, and let's talk about the offense. And, you know, y'all got your offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, and a name that everybody in Hokie Nation will forever hate as your co-OC and Chris Winkie. Fuck that guy. Fuck him forever. So what I was wondering, because when you have one like that, and Faulkner's tight ends coach, Winkie's working with the quarterbacks, who is the primary play caller for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets on the offense?
It's interesting because it's changed. So it's definitely Buster Faulkner.
Okay.
Buster Faulkner is definitely the play caller, but when Key was interim and we had Chip Long, Winkie actually called the plays for the last half of the season. And if you ask any Tech fan, I mean, Winkie is the heir apparent to become the OC. You know, Tech struggled on offense this year. Buster, we had to pay Buster to keep him from going to places like Kentucky or going to an SEC job. But yeah, Buster's play caller going a little rough this season, but we'll see if we can dial something up for the Hokies Saturday, the Tecmo Bowl.
There we go. the two schools that can claim the moniker Tech, and everybody knows who they're talking about. Let's talk a little bit about the quarterback situation, because that seems to be the one thing that, even in the media hype and everything, you got the national media talking about it. You got your coach kind of refuting what the national media is saying. What's the story going on at quarterback? Are we going to see Haynes King? Who are we going to see? Who you think we're going to see?
If I was a betting man, I'd say Pyron starts. I mean, King not starting last week was a big deal. And I think as a staff, you don't want to put a 65% King in, have him now have a season-ending injury. Now you're guaranteed not to have him when you have a very capable backup in Zach Pyron. He played against Notre Dame last week. I hate that his first kind of start this year was against Notre Dame with the 4th-ranked pass offense in the country. Pretty tough out. He's trying to force some throws to make some plays. But Zach Pyron does have a win in Blacksburg. So he started in Key's interim year, went to Blacksburg and got a win. And look, he's an Elite 11 quarterback. He's a veteran guy. There's probably not too many teams that have backups that are veteran like that. And I have the full confidence in Pyron if and probably when he does start in this game.
Yeah, I think everybody else on this show remembers that game that Pyron went in there and carved us up a little bit. It was a little frustrating to witness that game and how that went down. And I think we kind of knew then that was kind of, I think, one of the first big games where you're like, all right, well, this Brent Key might be onto something here as an interim. So that was a good situation for you guys. And I think your ceiling's a lot higher with Haynes King in there if he's able to go and he's able at least to hit that like 85 or 90% mark. But I don't, like you said, I don't think they're going to roll him out there at 65% and risk an injury and have him be limited in what he can do, because he does have a dynamic skill set as well there. So I'm expecting Pyron.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I'm expecting Pyron to get that start.
Yeah, King is definitely a little more fleet-footed. I mean, he's like a 4-5 flat type guy. But the thing with Pyron is he's probably a little more consistent throwing. Probably has a little more accurate arm. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, Pyron is of course, like you said, he's no stranger to coming to Blacksburg and fucking stuff up. I think it was 2022 that he did, but he's actually an Alabama guy. He was I don't want to say legend, but he may be close to a legend here in Alabama. He went to a school called Penson Valley. If y'all, Tech fans remember Kenji Christensen, he was his quarterback in high school. They won a state championship together. That was a 6A school, which is not the biggest division in Alabama, but closest to the biggest division. 7A is the biggest. So Penson Valley was at that time pretty much a powerhouse. Just getting back into kind of his high school stuff. So he's a winner, and I think he went to a smaller school. Yeah, he went to a smaller school called Fife High School. Was more of a country. This is what I'll tell you. He went from the most country school in the world and won a state title there to the most hood school, or like into the hood school, and won a state title there. He can fit into anything. Like he can go anywhere and he can play anywhere, and he ain't gonna be scared. So he go ahead.
He ran the triple option at that smaller school. I'm pretty sure they run the triple option. And I've interviewed him on the channel before. I think his dad took him to this other school because I was like, all right, that Paul Johnson ain't coaching no more, so maybe we need to go to a school that doesn't run the triple option.
Right.
You're in Alabama, Tally? You're in Alabama?
Yeah, man. I'm Alabama born and bred. I'm in Huntsville, Alabama.
Nice. Not far from me then. I'm on the west side of Atlanta.
Okay, nice. Hey, you over there with the good chicken wings that's in the strip clubs.
Yeah, that's actually why I moved there. I was like, number one thing, strip club, and what's the wing situation at that strip club? I'll go on a Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon. That does not matter to me.
Hey, you're a trooper for that, man. Hey, and if they got good wings, it's worth it. It's always worth it.
Exactly.
It don't matter for the wings either. That froze them.
Oh man!
I'm
telling you, the internet in Alabama is on one tonight. Sheldon,
They're trying to take my man down.
They are. It's the man is trying to take Tally out. Sheldon, what you got concerning something you want to know about the offense for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just looking over some of the advanced stats. I mean, pretty solid for the Yellow Jackets. 36th in EPA per rush, 19th in EPA per passing attempt. Success rate across the board pretty good. 39th for rushing, 16th for passing. I mean, it seems like it's a pretty solid offense overall. 20th points per drive. I guess just go over kind of the biggest strengths and maybe the biggest weaknesses of the GT offense right now.
All right. Well, Shelton, you look a little younger, so I'm going to say this, no cap when I say this. Biggest strength of the offense is definitely rushing. I mean, these teams are similar in their offensive identity. You look at Virginia Tech, what are you, 16th in pass offense and number 1 in the conference in rush offense. Tech's a little more balanced, but they definitely, look, Brinke's a guy that wants to run the ball. He says that, run the ball. Jamal Haynes, a guy that had a really good season for Tech last year, like their first 1,000-yard rusher since Paul Johnson was here. This year, they've been very inconsistent running the ball for whatever reason, though, which is surprising when you have an offensive line. And Brian, I think it sounds like you played offensive line. I don't think people give credit to how difficult it is to play that position and how important chemistry is. But something's got lost in the sauce for Tech this year. I think it might just be that people are just going to stack the box on Tech. If I'm Virginia Tech, that's what I'm going to do: stack the box, make Pyron throw, play man coverage on the outside, and see what happens. If I'm Virginia Tech, hey, I'm not going to let you beat me running Jamal Haynes like I'm Jeff Collins at North Carolina on the last play. The biggest weakness on Tech's team, without a doubt, is special teams. I mean, it's absolutely killed us. Something you don't talk about a ton, but how you get your ass beat on the road easily is special teams. We've now, against Louisville, had a block kick taken back for a touchdown. Marion Hampton took a kickback against us. Should have lost at North Carolina on special team snafus. We take timeouts, get substitution penalties before punts. It's a disaster, and it was a disaster against Notre Dame. So that'd be the biggest weakness. As far as offense-defense weakness, it's our pass rush and pass defense, which luckily for us, you've struggled throwing the ball. I think you've got, Drones has 9 touchdowns on 5 picks. I think you're 16th in pass offense too. But that's what kind of makes it an interesting matchup, is that we kind of clash it. We both kind of want to do similar things. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. And I just can confirm, looking at the numbers, Georgia Tech does rank 122nd in special teams efficiency according to FEI. So the numbers do bear that out. It has been a rough go for the Jackets on teams.
WreckTalk, it's not all in your head.
Yeah, that's right. I love it being a Tech guy. The numbers have confirmed what I can see with my lion eyes.
All right. Let me ask this. Go back to the offense before we get on the defensive side of the ball. But I'm looking here. Y'all got 2 main targets, and that's Rutherford and Singleton. They're basically almost half the completed passes goes to either one of those guys. Which one of those 2 guys do you like in this matchup versus Virginia Tech?
Well, it depends. Do you like your linebacker play? Do you feel confident in your linebackers in coverage?
Depends on which one you talked about.
Depends on which one you're talking about. There's 3, so
we're going to try and take advantage of the weaker one. So
yeah. So probably not great.
Not great. Okay. Yeah,
I'd say Malik Rutherford. Then now, if you look at the passing efficiency of Haynes King, it was like 75% at one point. Very deceptive, because we like to throw the ball behind the scrimmage a lot, or 5 yards in. A lot of screens, a lot of quick throws. And we've done that a lot to Malik, where he just, we cross block it or crack block it. I don't think you can call it crack block anymore. You kind of rub up against the guy without killing him nowadays. But I like Malik in that matchup. Singleton Jr. Was a freshman All-American last year, track star, 10-200 meter guy. We just have not done well with Haynes King throwing down the field. However, I think Pyron can do better. But your secondary is pretty cracked though, so probably won't go that route. Probably rather go with Malik there.
Yeah, and you got one of our linebackers, Keontae Jenkins, is effectively he plays an outside linebacker spot, but he's coming over from playing safety. So that's where it's like when we talk about some of those slot guys, you watch with all the defenses, right? Like there's usually a converted safety doing something near the line of scrimmage. And sometimes if they're really good, they can lock up a slot receiver. If they suck, slot seat all day. And it's crazy to see that. Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean outside we're pretty good with Delane and Strong. So if we get into those situations, it sounds like what you're telling me is that what we're going to need to do good is track the slot in the running back and tackle well, because they're going to get the ball quickly in space, and we're going to need to tackle to avoid getting into those second and short, third and short situations. Because I mean this is a defense for the Hokies that thrives on getting into second and third down and long, where we can send our defensive line after your quarterback.
Yeah, and boy, was it Powell Ryland is a hoss. What is he a junior? What is his class?
He's a senior.
He's a senior. Yeah, so you won't see him anymore.
He's going to go pretty high in the draft then. I think he's leading the conference in sacks, tackles for loss, a lot of different stats.
Yeah, he's number one in the country right now, actually. So he took over that moniker this week, actually. He was fifth going into Thursday, and by the close of Saturday, he was number one. So he had 4 against Boston College there, and he's been as advertised, really start to finish so far this year. And, we're really excited about what that defensive line has done as a whole, especially when it comes to getting after the passer.
It'll be interesting, George. I think Tech's only given up 2 or 3 sacks all year. I think they're near the top of the country in giving sacks up. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup. Tech, likes to run the RPO game, which is really the modern day version of the triple option. So we might just work on taking him out of some plays, and maybe some other guys can make some plays, but I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, they did that a little bit with Vandy when we played Vandy. So I'm imagining there's going to be a little bit of that mixed in as well, trying to neutralize him as much as possible. Like I said, that's why first down is so important for Virginia Tech from a defensive standpoint, because if we can get you in long situations on second and third, that's when we can really do the things that we like to do.
Oh yeah.
I did also confirm real quick. Haynes King, 30.7% of his passes this year have been behind the line of scrimmage. That's tied with Quinn Ewers for most in the Power 4. So yes, lots of big heavy dose of short quick.
Why is ESPN not hired you, Shelton? Like you're just like a machine with these stats, man. Like I think
I'm just a monkey on a keyboard, man. I'm typing away.
Like we're not golfing. You don't have to sandbag me or nothing. We're not about to put money on it.
All right. And that does make a lot of sense with the number of sacks. Passing that much time behind the line of scrimmage tells you y'all want to get that ball out quick. Let's flip over to the
tackle, guys. Got to tackle. Be nice behind the line of scrimmage a lot. Let's talk about your defense next, though. Obviously, Santucci's your DC, but obviously so much of this is coming from Brent Key and, what he's instilled there. And, y'all got some really good players, but the one that jumped out to me was Trinelius Tatum. I hope I butchered that as well as I did your show's name there.
By some miracle, you pronounced it correct, so...
I win.
Everybody golf clap for Curtis.
Everybody golf clap on that, because man, when I looked at not only some of the tape and watching him in a few games this year, but also his stat lines, he seems like he is everywhere at all times. What is he? Do you consider him your best defensive player, or what do you think?
No, I mean he's a guy that's been there a while, got a lot of experience, and look, he's made some good plays for us. The killer in this game for Tech is that Kyle Eford will most likely be out too. He injured his shoulder at UNC. I think he said he's practicing a black jersey, but that was our most surefire run stopper, which is 100% what Tech needs in this game. So he's probably been.
Hey, let me ask a question.
Go ahead.
Who was the dude in the first game that looked like a made-up linebacker? Was that him? Was that the Kyle kid
with the cowboy collar on?
Oh yeah.
That's him. I don't know why that's made a comeback. It went out of style for like 10 years, and now they're back. But yeah,
y'all go look him up in that first game that Georgia Tech played, and see if you want us to play against him. No, we don't want to play against him. because he looked like
puts people
he
on their
looked like
back.
one of them boys off the program, the movie. And
program.
I think he was on steroids that first game. So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying, he
we've
looked
actually started doing
like a
that.
linebacker, dog.
Yeah, it's part of our nutrition program.
That's
Yeah.
right. Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at that, Eford is definitely a guy that from your perspective, sounds like he could impact the game if he's not able to go. What do you guys look like outside? Because I mean, you talked about that may be an area where we could exploit, but it's also an area where we haven't necessarily been as dynamic as we want to be. If we're throwing outside, if we're throwing down the field, who's going to be the guy that can make some plays?
We've been pretty awful defending the pass. The stats don't necessarily show that, or just the straight ACC rankings of like total pass defense. I think we only have like 2 picks on the year, so only 2 takeaways. And really, that a lot of that comes down to our pass rush is just flat out awful. We just do not get after the quarterback. I mean, look, a good quarterback like who's the guy for Syracuse? Kyle McCord. He almost had 300 yards before half. It's just because we couldn't get to him. So that, if you look at when I preview the games, and I'll record one after this for tomorrow. If I like to think of what is one stat I could get from the game that I think would tell me who won it. It might be the passing yards for Virginia Tech. If you can really balance your run with being able to throw on us like most people do, Tootin's going to have a monster day because then we can't just commit to the run. We do have some experience there. LaMiles Brooks at safety, Clayton Powell-Lee, Amari Harvey. It's just we get in positions to make plays, and we don't make plays a lot of times, and it's just tough.
Yep, and you said it just a second ago about the pass rush. Your eyes ain't fooling. 126th in the country in team sacks.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, if that's happening, I know Shelton wants to bring this up now. He's got a little something on the secondary there, but obviously, if you're not getting pass rush, you could have an elite secondary. It's not going to show at all points in time. Sheldon, what you got, man?
Yeah, looking over the defensive numbers, I think the biggest bugaboo has been, the pass defense. Right now, Georgia Tech is 114th in drop back success rate against, right at 43% there. Why do you think it is that the secondary has struggled?
The secondary, yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about it. I mean, a big part is they can only cover for so long. I don't care how good of a corner you are. If you're manned up, there's only so long you can cover them. Or in zone, we've really done better playing man because I think that simplifies things for your backs a little more. Hey, that's my guy, as opposed to playing zone and really feeling where's the quarterback looking in your periphery. What are the wide receivers doing? I got crossers coming. I need to step up or whatever. And he talked about it a lot in the press conference. I think a lot of it's confidence too. I don't think we're just untalented in the secondary. I think when you get lit up game after game, you kind of have this impending doom feeling where it's like, man, here it goes again. They just dropped a 35-yard throw on us. Here we go again. So I think it's a little of both of those.
So
yeah, we
what
know
you're
that
saying
feeling.
right here.
We know that
go ahead,
feeling, but most of the time with Virginia Tech, it's, oh Lord, the quarterback just scrambled for 35 yards again.
Oh, well, that happens too. That happens too. Yeah, when you're not rushing the passer very well, I can almost guarantee you're not being very disciplined in pass rush lanes where a mobile quarterback can step up and not be touched for 8-9 yards either. That's happened a lot.
Yeah, and just kind of feeding off that, I think when we look at what Kyron Drones can do against this defense, if we say the over under sitting there at 215 and we hit the over, what you're telling me is you probably like the chances of that being a Hokie win.
I'd say 90% likely you're winning the game. Well, at 215, I'd put it at 250. If he throws for more than 250, I would say 98% likely y'all are winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some good games here, especially against Stanford, who I think from a defensive passing efficiency standpoint was probably about in the same ballpark as Georgia Tech. If we can do that and still have some success on the ground, then I think we're putting ourselves in a pretty good position there. So it's going to come down to that, and I think Shelton has spoken to it to a point. Kyron's had a pretty good amount of success against man. He's gotten better against throwing against the zone. So we'll see if he can get some consistency in this game and give a good compliment to what we can do in the running game with Tootin there.
Yeah. And I'm sure Shelton, you've got the stats sitting right above you somewhere. I think the last time we dropped a game to y'all in Blacksburg was 2012. Whatever reason we played well, and you knew it. Of course you did.
Well, to be fair, I saw a Twitter graphic earlier today, and I was like, yeah, it's been, but they've only played 3 times, or maybe 4 times, I think.
Yeah,
2012.
In Blacksburg, yeah.
In Blacksburg,
yeah.
And Bill Roth dropped it out there. I think there's only been one home victory in this matchup in the last 15 years or something like that.
I was at that game. I was at Bobby Dodd Stadium when it happened. I think
was
it was
that when you had Tyrod Taylor?
No, I think it was 2017.
Okay.
Greg Stroman picked one off and took it back, and then I think that was the year Cam Phillips was our guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they beat us at Bobby Dodd, and I was there, and I was sad.
Yeah,
I was very sad.
Was it 09 when y'all were ranked 4th? And I know y'all had a really mobile quarterback. We pulled one out at Bobby Dodd. I think Gailey might have even been our coach. It's been a while. I just remember being at that game.
Curtis is dialing back in the history books, I think.
Let me get to history books here. The one that always stands out to us, and we can do a little history, is the Calvin Johnson year, because we were a significantly better team than y'all, and we could not cover that specimen on the field that day.
Megatron,
that was 06, because I got to attend the 2005 game. Go look at that one, WreckTalk. That was game day was on site, and that was an absolute. I'm sure you probably drank a lot that day because of the ass whipping that was put on, because that was an ugly game, and I was blacked out in the stands.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, Calvin Johnson, if you just created a wide receiver in Madden and maxed all his stats out, you would get something like Calvin Johnson. I mean, the dude's just a freak, and I'm pissed at the Lions to this day for screwing his career up in the pros.
100%.
For real.
And you're right. It was 2009. Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback that year. So,
and I think Roman Reigns was the one bringing him to the ground.
Oh my God,
it's crazy.
It might have been before that, actually. I don't know. I know Joanna White played here. But.
Yes, he did. No, he was. That would have been about the time frame for him.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that game, but he was definitely that time.
It was that time frame for him. Pretty crazy to think about it. Well, man, listen, we want you to go ahead, tell everybody where they can find you. If you got YouTube channel, Twitter, WreckTalk, where can they find you, and anything special you're talking about as you record this evening? Yeah,
so the YouTube channel is WreckTalk, not WreckTech. If you search WreckTech, I don't know what will come up, but it's probably not me. I'm at @Rec_talk on Twitter, because my other one got hacked by sex bots. I don't know if that says about anything about what I search on the internet, but hey, yeah, so it's @Rec_talk. I'll do a preview video this week. I do power rankings every week, usually on Monday. I'll be picking the spread probably tomorrow or the day after. And a caveat with that, if you want to speed run the poorhouse, go ahead and bet a lot on sports. I don't do it, and you shouldn't either. But yeah, so I should have those coming out. Probably C-Dog and I will be streaming this game Saturday on his channel. If you just look up C-Dog, you'll see us both probably losing our minds. Usually my voice is like an octave lower after those games, because I don't know about you guys. I take it hard. I mean, take it hard.
Not as hard as it used to be, but you sound like me in our text chain during games.
Yeah, Curtis is. We talked about it earlier. Curtis is a roller coaster ride during games. You got to ride the waves. You got to ride the waves. You got to hope that they turn it around, because sometimes Curtis, anytime we're playing bad, we're the worst team in the ACC.
No, country, not even the ACC, country. But listen, WreckTalk, man, we appreciate you taking a little bit of your time tonight to talk a little Georgia Tech with us. Nice meeting you, man. And again, as everybody we see, maybe one day we make it to Atlanta, you make it to Blacksburg, we'll meet up and say what's up, have a beer together.
Can't do, man. I tell you what, y'all come on down, Tally. I'll take you to the Cheetah. You know what I'm talking about.
All right, man.
There
Thanks.
we
All
go.
right.
Bet.
Y'all have a good one.
Thanks,
Have a
You
good
man.
say, man. Appreciate it. Tally, it's only 2.5 hour drive, right?
Hey,
Oh yeah, I'll be over there all the time, man. That's it. Hey, whenever we play there, I'm there.
Oh man, gotta love it, gotta love it. The Kyle Effort thing must have just came out because I was looking up about Effort. That's big for them because that guy's got 50 plus tackles. So losing him is definitely could open up some things for the run game because to Sheldon's point, they don't have a good pass D, but they do have a pretty good run D. So let's flip it over. Let's talk about some Hokie keys before we give our predictions. Shelton, what is your key this weekend?
Man, why did I have to go first?
Because Callie gets mad when I pick him.
You put me on the spot. I don't know. I think I would say defensively, I'd focus there. Just make sure you pressure the QB. I think get off blocks again, like we talked about. This is a Georgia Tech team that really loves to work the short game. So you gotta make sure you're getting off blocks, attacking downhill, being physical, and just run into the ball carrier. I'd say that's the biggest key for the defense. I think Georgia Tech has some holes on defense, but it's the offense for GT that I'm a little bit more concerned about. So just try to limit their short passing game.
Got it. Tally, just because that's up for you there.
hey,
Oh, yeah.
the lemon pepper wings at the strip club are always lemon pepper wet.
Yeah. So you know what?
Touche.
You know what? Damn it, we done had a lot of stuff going on this show, and I've been writing down stuff that y'all been doing over here today, and y'all need to get your acts together. Talking about wings being wet at the strip club. That's something that I'm gonna talk to Jack about.
Oh
That's
my
number
God.
one. Sheldon said bugaboo earlier.
He did say
You He said bugaboo earlier. I heard it. Brian said gangbuster. I don't know how to feel about Brian saying gangbuster and talking about wet wings at a club. There's a lot going on. He also said Curtis was a roller coaster ride.
I am a roller coaster ride.
What's going
That
on?
might be his shirt, right?
Hey,
What
Go
is
picture my
going-
head.
Hey, man, y'all need to go to church on
Tally
Sunday.
said
What's going
pause.
on? What is going on today? And last but not least, WreckTalk said he takes it hard. He said it a couple of times. This show's got a little wild today. I'm gonna ring it back in, reel it back in.
Bring it
All
back
right.
in, Callie. What's the key?
Key to us winning is to stay ugly. We need to be ugly. We don't need to get cute. Every time we get cute, we do something stupid. I think last week we had it rolling. We put the backup quarterback in to try to do something. We lost some yards, and then some crazy stuff started happening. Hey, the stuff that's working, let's just keep it working. Just stay ugly. Let's just be us. That's what I think.
All right, Brian Siegel.
Continue to be who you are, man. I think we finally showed what this team is capable of. I think we've seen it consistently the last really 3 weeks, back to back here, that we've had a game. That's the team that I expected at the start of the year, and just keep being that team. If you keep being that team, everybody in front of you is pretty much on the table for a W. So that's what you got to do.
100%. And my key is treat the backup like a starter. Treat Zach like he's Haynes King. And I think maybe the best thing going in that is what he did in 2022 here. He did not have a great game coming in that week, but he beat us. And I think sometimes just show the film. Like, this guy can come down here and win. Don't think he's a backup. Go out there, hit him as hard as you would hit Haynes King, make him pay for his runs. He decides to hold it on to an extra second, strip the ball from him. So do not act like that he is a backup quarterback. All right, let's get to the predictions here. And you know what? I'm going to go first this week because, y'all let me run the controls. And I am going to go with a Hokies win. I don't think it's going to quite be the blowout like last week. I do not think we're going to cover this, but I think we're going to win 27-18. Going to have a couple big ones. I know, talking about that rush defense of theirs without the man in the middle. And even if he comes in, y'all know if you have some sort of injury, there's going to be something limited. So in that case, run at him. Give me 27-18. Hokies hang on for a 2-score win. Brian?
I got us winning. I got us covering. Give me 34-20 Hokies. I think we go out there and take care of business. I think that we are going to see similar type of success through the air and on the ground like we saw against Stanford. I think it is going to be a pretty balanced one. I think we will have a little bit more success in the running game than we had against Stanford. But overall, I think we handled that business for 4 quarters, 34-20 Hokies.
Yep, and actually, it was 9.5, so something else has changed because the spreads went up to 11.5 now. So I did not know that. I thought it was at 9. So I'm not covering. Brian still got covering. Sheldon, what about you?
I'll take VT 27-17. I think offense will be fine. I don't trust GT with their quarterback situation. They'll get a couple touchdowns, but that's it. So Hokies won't quite cover, but I do believe it will be the first time in the Brent Pry era that the Hokies do not win by 17 or more points.
All right. Jonathan Talley.
Hey, man, I told you I got to stay true to it. I'm going Georgia Tech. I'm going to keep doing it. Locker room material. Georgia Tech, I say it's going to be a close game. Until we prove we can win those games consistently, I'm going to continue saying it. Again, I hate to say it, but if it keeps us winning, I'm going to say it every week. So we'll go Georgia Tech, 27-21, Georgia Tech.
All right, there we go. 27-21, Jonathan Talley. There are our predictions. Feel free to put your predictions in the comment section. All right, let's turn it on. Let's go to big screeners, where last week, other than me and Tally, we didn't have a good week, man. You got 2 right. I got 1 right. Everybody else was 500. I got the money one right. I did get the song game right. That's the only one. But as of right now, pretty much everybody's pretty much a coin flip, except Brian. He's slightly better than a coin flip. So if you got your money, put it with Brian. Maybe not.
Toot.
All right, so we got to begin. We're getting into the week of college football. When we get to choose these, it's actually becoming more difficult because there are so many good games on the slate every week, like pivotal games for potential conference championships, ranked matchup, rivalry games. So let's start it this week. Brian Siegler, where are you traveling us to?
College Station, baby. LSU, Texas A&M. A&M's got that 2.5 there. And you know what? I haven't really liked what I've seen overall from this A&M squad. LSU, I think, has been a little more consistent. So I'm actually going to take LSU to cover here. Take the win outright.
All righty. I'm going to go exact opposite of you. I think Texas A&M is slowly finding their identity under Elko. LSU helped me beat the Ole Miss, but they are not in Death Valley. That is going to be a Saturday night game down at Kyle Field. Lay 2.5. I think, first of all, get ready for a fun game. I think, there's always games like watch this game. It's going to be entertaining. I think this is going to be an entertaining game, but A&M slips it by like 6 points at the end to beat LSU. Sheldon?
I'll take A&M. Normally this would be a letdown game for the Aggies, but I feel like this is the first time in a while that Texas A&M has had a real head coach. I love what Elko's doing, so I think he's going to have his boys ready.
All right. Tally.
I'm a big Elko fan and not a Brian Kelly fan, but I am I think his name is Weeks for LSU, their linebacker. He is a monster, and every time I've seen to bet against LSU, they found a way to win, so I'm going to go LSU this week.
All right, Tally goes LSU. Our wonderful writer Miranda goes LSU, and the Music Man says LSU as well. All righty, I am next on this, and I am going to Thursday night, where Matt Berry's trying to say out there, Pitt, you got a lot to live up to. First of all, Matt, Pitt is not going to live up to the atmosphere or the excitement that you got on campus and in Lane Stadium. So please notate that. You're not going to get that anywhere else. But Pitt-Syracuse is actually a pretty big game within the ACC. Pitt currently undefeated. Syracuse only with 1 loss. So for this one, I think Syracuse is going to beat Pitt. I think they're going to make Pitt eat shit. Pitt, for some reason, and Sheldon, maybe I'm just making it up. Yes, they're unbeaten, but it's just like it may be the most unimpressive 6-0 in the country. Maybe
I can
not,
look-
but it's
I can look it
yeah.
up.
Look it up. See if it's one of the most unimpressive 6-0s in the country. I know they're big wins, West Virginia, but I'm taking Syracuse. Give me the points. Syracuse wins outright.
Curtis, I'm going to piggyback on that and say that both teams have really good records, and neither of them are impressive, in my opinion. The 5-1 or the 6-0, but in this case, Pitt needs to eat some shit, so that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, this was a tough game to pick. I mean, I took Syracuse, but man, I do not feel good at all about it. And I did confirm Pitt has the lowest SP Plus ranking of all the undefeated teams in the Power Four. So they've won 39th, barely cracking.
Oh damn, they're not even in the top 25.
Well, actually, no, sorry, they were 30th. So offense is 39th. So I mean, they've been kind of fringe, top 30 team, but I don't know. I mean, they've had some breaks go away, so I'll take Syracuse.
Tally?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Syracuse as well. Again, I'm kind of like Brian. I mean, I think both teams are solid teams, but not the hype that kind of most people were kind of throwing out. But I think Syracuse wins this just because I need Pitt to lose. So we're gonna go Syracuse.
There we go. Miranda's riding with us, guys. Jason is going the other way. He's taking the Panthers here.
I hope you're wrong, Jason. So I'm gonna let you know that right now. Shelton Moss, where are you going this week?
Let's go. Game day is going to Indiana for the first time ever after we got Cal a couple weeks ago. My goal is for what is that?
Does that mean the only place of the Power Five to never host? Is it official now?
No, it's not official. There's still like 5. I think.
There's 5.
Yeah, like they've never been to Syracuse, a couple others, but my goal is for everyone to host except for UVA. That'd be a admirable thing to happen.
Most admirable.
So, yes. But anyways, I think this will be a really fun matchup. There is some uncertainty with Indiana's QB. That being said, I will take Washington because again, I think Indiana's coming off a big win. They don't know that their QB is going to start, so give me the Huskies.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go the other direction here. I think Indiana's playing really good football right now. I think if the quarterback is able to go, I'm gonna like them to cover that 6.5. So let me go with Indiana, and we'll see if the quarterback goes. But I'll take that risk right now.
Yeah, they made all of us look foolish last week. I'm not betting against them right now. Give me Indiana. I'll lay 6.5 versus Washington. Sheldon's got UW. Tally.
I gotta go Indiana. Like Curtis said, it kind of made me look crazy, thinking just what they did last week. So we're gonna go
the
Indiana.
whole crew looked crazy. Everybody rode with Nebraska, and we all had egg on our face, man.
Yes, we did.
Right.
Miranda's riding with the boys here, and so is Jason. So Sheldon, you're out there on the island.
On the island. It's his game.
I'm the Kirk Herbstreit right now.
There you go.
Going against the green.
All righty. Taliban, what is your game, sir?
Man, we're gonna go to Vandy in Texas here. Texas is coming off of a loss. Vandy's kind of riding high this year in general. I don't think Vandy wins this game, but I think Vandy covers that spread. I think they're gonna make it a heart attack game for Texas just because Pavia is a gamer. So I'm going Vandy this game.
What I've learned watching some of these Vanderbilt games is that Vanderbilt absolutely plays to whatever the competition level is of their opponent. They play down to the Ball States of the world. They took a loss to a G5 school, but they beat Alabama. They played Missouri pretty tough. I think this is a team that kind of matches the energy of whoever their opponent is. So 18.5 is way too much there. So give me Vandy here.
Yep. I'm with you. Way too much. 18.5 is way too much. And also watching Texas's defense, they had a couple very difficult times defending some of those runs against Georgia. And I know it's a little bit of different style, but they've shown sort of the flaw. And it's probably that rush defense. And again, y'all know Jerry Keel and Tim Beck and Clark Lee are going to lean on ball control. We're going to run the ball a lot. It's in Nashville. Josh just put that up there in the chat. Josh Young, shout out. I think they beat them by like a field goal. Texas is going to hold out, but Vanderbilt is going to shock their life. Sheldon?
Vanderbilt's actually been one of the top 10 teams in the country in terms of outperforming the spread based on point totals. For whatever reason, the computers have just had a hard time with this team this year. For that reason, I'm taking Vandy. 18.5 just sounds way too big.
Yep. And we are riding as a family on Vandy.
Vandy across the board, baby.
Vandy across the board. You ever think you see that a day in your life? Everybody picking Vandy with points against a program like Texas. Not I. All righty. Let's roll next. We've got Miranda's pick, which I almost picked this one. We got Notre Dame against undefeated Navy. Undefeated
Navy.
Top 25 ranked Navy. It's going to be at the gorgeous Annapolis Stadium, where I got a chance to go and watch the Hokies play. Navy getting 12.5 points. Brian, where are you on this one?
Yeah, and it's the 12.5 for me. I think Notre Dame does win this game, but it's a very good year for the service academies in general and a very good year for Navy so far. And I think their style of play, if Notre Dame doesn't jump out on them quick offensively, they're going to grind that game to a halt. I could see Notre Dame pulling out a 10-point win, but that's about it. So I'm going with Navy here.
Yep. And you just summarized exactly why. 12.5 is way too much. And right now they are 6-0. The closest game they have had this year is a 12-point win against Memphis. They hung 56 on Memphis. No one has slowed them down all year. I do think Notre Dame slows them down, but not to the tune of 12.5 points.
There you go.
Yeah, historically, Notre Dame has dominated this rivalry, and they've had a pretty easy time with Navy even in recent years. So I think it's a good matchup for Notre Dame, and I'll take the Irish.
Laying 12.5. When that first drive takes 9 minutes, Sheldon gonna be worried about his 12.5 points. Like, why did that take so long? Tally?
Yeah, I gotta go Navy here, just for the fact that if I didn't, I think my brother may kill me. So I'm gonna go Navy.
From the fart.
Miranda's riding with Sheldon, and Jason's coming along with the rest of us here.
By the way, betting on games that involve teams that run the triple option, like when you are laying points, it's like one of the worst feels ever. when they get going on their first drive and you're laying 13, and it's like even if they get a field goal here, like my team's still gonna win this game, but they gonna win by like 9. All right. We got our buddy Jason Long, always playing a little music, always picking a game, occasionally going broke and asking us for Venmo money. He did not have to do that last week. He actually had a pretty good week in his NFL bet. So he's not hitting me and Brian up for gambling funds this week, but he is going to the Nebraska-Ohio State game.
Guitar Licks and Gambling Picks. I'm Jason Long. Now it's close to Halloween, so I was playing around with one of my favorite songs, I Put a Spell on You. A bunch of people have covered that song. See Nina Simone, CCR, the Sanderson sisters. Hell, I even recorded it last year, put it on a little album called Other People's Children, and you can find that anywhere you buy or stream music. Now, the original artist and songwriter of that song was actually a guy named Screamin' Jay Hawkins, who was born and raised in Ohio. That just so happens to be where I'm looking at for this week's pick. Now, Nebraska travels to Ohio State Saturday, and they're looking like they're big underdogs. Ohio State is currently giving up 23.5 points. That's a scary amount of points to give up, but in honor of spooky season and Screamin' Jay, I figure might as well go ahead and lay down 23.5 points. Ohio State at home against Nebraska Saturday night. That's the way I'm rolling. Go Buckeyes. See you next week.
Righty. So there we are. Nebraska, Ohio State in the horseshoe. Ohio State laying 23.5. We see Jason throwing some big gambling, laying a lot of points. Brian, what about you?
You know what? As our buddy in the chat here, Josh Young, says, I think great value Mahomes kind of brings it back a little bit after that absolutely disgusting output last week. So I'm going to go Nebraska here just because 23.5 is just a little too much for a team that in Nebraska I think is still solid, if not a upper echelon Big Ten team here. So I think if you'd have said that was like 20.5, I might would have pulled the trigger, but that extra hook is going to be a little too much for me.
The field goal and the hook. And I just don't think they can lose by that big again. They lost by 49 last week. So I think they lose somewhere between 17 and 20, and I'll lay 23.5. I think it is going to be a roller coaster, though. I think it's going to be the Curtis wave of emotions in that game because it's going to probably Ohio State jump out early, Nebraska fight back. But I'll take Nebraska.
I think Nebraska's gonna have a really hard time scoring. Their offense is pretty bad, and Ohio State is the number one defense in the country. I'm just gonna go with the bounce back theory here and take Ohio State.
All right.
Yeah, I got to go Nebraska in this just because I don't want them to get beat that bad because I don't want Ohio State, a couple of my Ohio State buddies to be able to brag about this season. So I don't think Nebraska's going to win the game, but I don't think they're going to get beat by 23.5, 24 points.
All right, there we go. Miranda says Nebraska. So Jason and Shelton. So there are the big screeners this weekend, and it is a lot more fun games to be watching this weekend. The Hokie game is a noon kick, everybody. So I'm going to be watching it on replay. I will not be blowing up the chat because we got baseball. I'll be watching like the first 10 minutes, and then we're going into the baseball game until like 3. So y'all don't get to watch the roller coaster of emotions of Curtis. So, yeah. All right. Anything?
You're just going to be cursing like periodically, like, what the fuck are we doing? And then you go back to it, and then you like pull it up again, like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Or I won't say anything.
Yeah. If it's going well, you're going to be like, hey, this is fun. And then like ignore your phone for another 2 hours.
Ignore my phone. Exactly. Well, like 5 minutes. I'll be pulling it up here and there and everywhere. Line just went back down to 10.5, not 11.5. That line's crazy right now for the Tech game.
So we're moving up and down. I think the initial reaction was national media saying, we weren't getting Haynes King, and then Brent Key saying day to day, week to week, we don't know yet. So it probably jumped up 2 points, and they correcting it back with that 1 point there. So
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Anything else to add, fellas, tonight?
I
Great
think we're good.
time
I
of
mean,
year.
if
Great
yeah,
time of
go ahead,
year.
Tally.
I mean, you got all kind of sports on right now. NBA season started again today. You got basketball, you got baseball, you got football.
NHL.
Great time of year for a sport. Say what now?
Hockey's back too. Don't forget.
Hockey's back too.
World
I
Series
mean,
starts Friday night.
dude, you got it's a great time to be a sports fan, man.
Yes.
I mean, if you like to bet and lose money, you can lose a lot of money right now. So go ahead and just dump all your money on whatever you feel like dumping it on. So I'm excited.
I think this is what we've talked about this in the past. Like, this is the sports week. Like, it is the sports week because World Series, hockey, basketball, like, get your fixes in this week. So it's like really from this Friday until like next Friday or whenever the World Series in, it's like every single major sport in the U.S. is going. Football in full season mode. It's a beautiful time of year. Probably the best sports week.
Oh yeah, definitely the best sports week. You get a little bit of everything. There's nothing that most sports fans don't have some interest in and can get excited about. You're kind of getting to the meat of the schedule from a football standpoint, whether it's NFL or college. You got the World Series out there. Start of the season, everybody's got the hopium. When you look at the hockey and the NBA, starting to get some early contests in college basketball, men's and women's. So you're starting to see a little bit of that start to come into play. That'll start tipping off about the time that the World Series is wrapping up. So it's a really good time of year for a sports fan, and I think you just kind of got to soak it up a little bit and enjoy it because
That's it.
It goes away pretty quick.
Sit down, grab your favorite food, grab your favorite beverage, kick your feet up, and enjoy the weekend. And with that, let's wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner Podcast, brought to you by Counts Family Pharmacy in Blacksburg. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
And I'm Sheldon Moss.
We are part of the College Huddle Network. Check our website out, boundarycornerbt.com, to listen to all of our episodes. Also there, if you are interested in the owning a piece of history, check out Goalpost Pyramid. You can go right to the site and buy it. Or you can do what Les Hodges just did a few minutes ago, put $19.99 in our live chat in the YouTube channel. Make sure you do subscribe. You have to be subscribed. You have to put $99 in the chat, $19.99 in the chat to be eligible for that prize. You've got this episode, next week episode, and then live on air when we preview Clemson. We are going to do the drawing for the winner, so we can put it out there. Hopefully, y'all can get in contact with us. Don't forget, follow us Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. As aforementioned, subscribe to the YouTube account. We are on all of your favorite podcast sources. As always, we let our buddy Jason Long play us in, play us out, and check him out. For those down near the Vinton area, 107 Pollard South. Jason's going to be playing a little concert down there Friday evening, so check him out down there. Also, go to Jason at jasonlongmusic.com. All of that stuff, Apple, Spotify, his YouTube, his Facebook pages. That song he did play tonight was from the album last year, Other People's Music, where he does this version of not Ramblin' Man, but Midnight Rider, as previously heard with the Brent Pry episodes. As always, we really appreciate y'all out there listening. We appreciate all the comments in the chat. And as always, let's go.
Hokies.
Hokies.